Here's how I got scammed buying what I thought was a legitimate Reborn. Let's talk about it. Hello everyone, welcome back to Strong Hands Reborn Dad. My name is Odie, and as the intro suggested, we're going to talk about a topic that I know has been well covered in the Reborn community, but it can't be said loud and enough. It is so hard sometimes for brand new people to the hobby, like myself, even just a few months ago when this happened, to avoid all the scam websites that are out there that are selling and stealing other people's works, knocking them off, shipping them out of somewhere in China for dirt cheap, and passing them off as legitimate Reborn dolls. It's hurting the community, it hurt me, and we're gonna talk about it. But I'm not gonna just tell you about it. I'm gonna show you what happened. First, we're gonna open up a box that I bought, and I didn't know any better, and I thought I was just getting a cheap manufactured doll. I knew it wasn't gonna be an artist doll, but on the site it said things like hand-rooted hair, hand-painted, and all those buzzwords that you want to see, right? Especially even if you don't know anything about it. And I'm going to show you that box opening first. And through it, I'm going to tell you guys what happened. I recorded it with the intent of maybe actually publishing it as its own video a long time ago, but I wasn't even sure then that I was going to go public. I mainly honestly was doing it for my records because, I had a feeling after I had purchased it that something wasn't quite right. I don't know. And so, but I was hopeful, I was like, well, maybe it's wrong, because then, after I did it, I found some stuff that suggested this wasn't like a legit site, and this was, bad, people had bad experiences. And then later in the video, I'm going to show you a different box opening, or at least part of it, where I open and box open this doll right here, my Olivia from Ashton Drake. And I'm going to show you guys the difference just in the box opening and the quality. And also at the end, I will show again the fake Reborn doll. I still have it, but I don't even keep it on display. It's still in a box. But I will show it to you so you guys can just see the sheer quality from a frankly cheap knockoff manufactured doll that likely stole work from another person's creators, probably even stole the pictures from it, if we're being honest. Now I know that that's a thing. And I'm going to also tell you guys too, this happened to me, and I work in IT security. I literally build websites for people. I do server hosting, server management. I do all of those things. I'm like one of the most keen people on staying safe online, and I got scammed. So if it can happen to me, I can guarantee you it can happen to anybody. So we're going to definitely be talking about that too. And at the end, I'm going to share a heartfelt message and my plea to everyone watching this video. Please stick around for that. Let's get into it right now with the box opening from dollreborns.com with the utter disaster that was.
All right, guys, here we are. We are getting ready to open the, as my wife calls it, the Chucky doll. It is quite horrendous. It's quite sad. In the video, you can see I'm trying to be excited. You can see my hands. The box, that's how it came to me. Did not even try to open it, not even a little bit. And yep, I'm pointing out all the divots and the hole that's already in the box, so no telling if any moisture got in there or anything. And that thing came to me straight from China too. And it took 3 weeks to get there. And they were like on the website, this is the Doll Reborn's website, right? They were telling me like how it's going to be hand painted and it takes 3 days for them to do it and all of this, that, and the other. And I don't know any better. I literally am going at this completely blind. And when I get the box here, my heart's beating out of my chest, frankly. And then I see this box. I know this box. That box is the same one that companies like Babeside use. I know that. Except my experience with the babe side has been better, but that's topic for a different day. But the box is so badly bent in, guys. Look at that. It's already pretty much opened. And when you see this actually open up, I'm going to open up the box here in just a second. Just take a look. They didn't take any precautions to protect this doll. I can hear it rattling around in there already. And I know that this is not good. And look at that. It's just in a bag. That's literally how I found it. As soon as you open the box, it's ripped, it's torn, it's just in a bag. There's very little in there. There's this cheap little doll diaper, a little... it's not even like a COA, it's a birth certificate, right? It's definitely had that kid feel to it, not a collector's item, which is what it was sold as on the site, is a collector, not a toy. That has the makings of a toy if I've ever seen one. It just looks bad, and you can't even tell right when I'm looking at it, but that left leg is actually shorter and smaller than the right one. The hair was actually the best part on it. It didn't feel like terrible hair, to be honest with you, but I know it wasn't like mohair or anything like really good or anything like that. So this is the doll Reborns. Don't buy this one. You're going to hate life. And I think we've seen enough said. It's clearly a vinyl. It was advertised to be a silicone doll with a vinyl body, so silicone limbs. Let's just move on, okay? Don't buy them from them. This, on the other hand, this is the Ashton Drake doll. This, the box not bent in really hardly at all. No scuffs. They even have a little arrow that tells you which side is up. You know, it's good. Now I knew Ashton Drake a little bit, so I wasn't expecting, you know, like a crazy box opening or anything, but I was just so happy to see that the outside of this much better. And so we're gonna go ahead and open this thing up here, and you guys will see the actual packaging here. Very well done. The inside box isn't, you know, torn to bits at all. And it just looks already much better, right? I'm already feeling much better about this product. And I'm really happy so far to see this. And so we open up and look at that nice, even, no crumpled tissue papers or anything like that. It just has a nice, very presentable form to it, right? And that's all I could really ask for. I'm really anxious. So we're going to peel this paper back and let's see what's inside. You can see right there that little red paper. That is the COA. And so always happy to see that. This is the Linda Murray sculpt, and the name of the doll is Little Livy. I have renamed her to Olivia, but look how well she's packed. The cardboard around her neck to keep her in place, the extra foam around her legs and limbs and all that. And now you can see her laying on this blanket here, and she just looks better. This is a silicone doll. It is a partial silicone. The body is cloth. The face, the limbs, and the arms, all silicone, but it is a very hard silicone. It's like, it's a little squishy, but not hardly squishy at all. It's very firm kind of feeling. Still attracts dog hair, but you can see the nails. They actually painted or kind of put a little glossiness on there, so it kind of mimics the nails. I was so happy to see that. Looks really cute hands. Not much dexterity in the hands though, to be honest with you, but I'd still, for an extra $100 over what I paid for that junk doll that I just showed you guys, like, this is so much better. I can't even tell you how much better this is. The lips don't open on here, but I think it can take a magnetic pacifier, but I don't personally, with these type of dolls, I don't put them in. The only ones I put a pacifier in are the full body silicone, and I've only got one of those. Otherwise, I don't use pacifiers. I hate magnetic pacifiers. I'm not a fan. They don't stay in. They're cheap, and it just, if I was gonna want that, I'd want like to be able to put a real baby bottle or a real pacifier in there and actually enjoy it that way, not try to cheat it with magnets. I know some of these you can kind of make a modified one. The one thing I could tell you about all silicone dolls, though, take a look at, so you can see my hands are struggling to get the sock back on. Yeah, silicone dolls are really hard to dress for me. It's because, you know, there's a lot of friction there. They're very, you know, they're just kind of stiff and they cling to everything. So, but there's a better look at her, a little wider look. She is weighted, as I mentioned before, so she's got glass beads in her tush. And yeah, I don't like the clothes, though. That was the one thing on here I definitely don't like. I'm not going to use them. I prefer to use real, actual baby clothes on my dolls. So this one definitely is still a newborn. I think fits more comfortably. I could probably squeeze her into some 0 to 3s, But I want to show you guys this. Look at the joints where the limbs connect to the body. Really well done, really good. You can see the Ashton Drake little symbol there. They still put cheap diapers on them. That's fine. I know the big thing in the Reborn community is to put cloth diapers. I will if it becomes a problem, but I haven't had an issue with like Pampers or just regular disposable diapers. So I'm gonna kind of keep using that until something happens. She is so cute. I'm so happy with this one. I can definitely cuddle with this one. I do wish the face wasn't so pink. I wish it had a little bit more realism. I understand these are photography dolls and it's still manufactured. It wasn't like an artist did anything. But I was so much happier with this baby, and she's so cute. And obviously, you guys see me holding her at the intro here, and I'll hold her again at the end. But she's so adorable, and I'm so glad that I've got her, and glad to get more actual genuine reborns that aren't stolen and not get scammed. And we're going to talk all about that right now. So let's get back onto here, and I'm going to tell you guys my plan here.
As you can see, there's a very clear difference in the quality. Everything from the box itself, the one from the knockoff was, just absolutely just crushed, I understand it came from overseas, but it was in a bag. There was no protection. Everything I showed you about the box, that's exactly how it came. And then you saw the care, the cardboard around Olivia's neck to keep her in place and keep things from crushing into her. And just the sheer difference. And honestly, what I paid for the doll reborns was right at $100 after shipping. For another $100, I could have gotten this one at the time. I didn't know, and I'm kicking myself. And that's the part of the video I want you guys to pay attention to right now. Because if you're anything like me, when you're looking at buying a reborn and adding to your collection, so much of what you see, the initial pictures, is what draws you into it. It's the face, it's the little hands, it's, whatever it is that draws you closer to the perfect reborn, so to speak, right? The sculptor, how it's painted, and maybe the material, and then you read about the weighting and the positioning and all of it. It's so much emotion driven, right? Because that's what art is. It draws us in. And you just when you buy something and you look at the pictures and they're promising one thing, and the second you open up the box, I was lying to myself in the video. Like, I was like, okay, well, maybe this isn't so bad. And with, I'm visually impaired, so I don't notice some of the details. It wasn't even until days later that Raven pointed out to me. She's like, this doll doesn't even have the same size legs, right? And then I noticed it, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I just felt devastated. And I don't say that word lightly. I was crushed. It took 3 weeks for the doll to get here, long enough for that anticipation to keep building and building, and you're hoping, but you're also worried because even after you purchase it, you don't stop researching about it because you're just so anxious. That's how I am. That's how my anxiety works. Is I can't just let things go sometimes. I wish I could because, I'm excited about it, but I'm also nervous. And the more I was reading about this website and all the horrible things about it, and then I got onto a site called Trustpilot and I read all the negative reviews, and then I'm just like, oh no, oh no, oh no. And I can't take it back. You can't really stop these orders, right? And I'm just hoping maybe it's not true. Maybe it's okay. Maybe it's gonna be fine. And then I get the box in there, and I already could tell even from the outside of the box, seeing that it was crushed, I'm like, this isn't gonna be good. And in the video, I'm doing this kind of all before I'm editing the middle parts, but I'm kind of lying to myself if I'm being honest with you guys. I don't want to admit it. I don't want to say out loud what I'm really feeling. I'm trying to make the best of it. And I can't. I can't even look at that doll because it hurts too much to know that, as smart as I am when it comes to this, I got taken advantage of. My feelings got played. The doll in the picture on their website was not even close to the same thing that I got. and to see the doll's head crushed in, to see the back pushed in, all the divots, it looked just like an absolute mess. And here's the thing, if I would have just reached out to somebody, now knowing that there's been dozens of comments and we have thousands of followers on this one channel, I bet if I reached out to any of you now about this website, you'd probably reply back and say, please don't buy from them. And you'd probably point me somewhere else. But here's the truth at the time. I was scared. I didn't know how you would react with a guy interested in reborn dolls. I did what a lot of people do. I Googled. I used ChatGPT. I did anything but even put a comment on Reddit. I did everything that I thought was right. But here's the truth. Those websites, they know that. They know that a lot of people in this community, not saying the majority, but a lot, are nervous or scared. They don't know how people are going to react to their hobby. And then they do what everybody else does. They Google, they try and research. That's what I did. I looked at the reviews. I thought they were legit. I had no clue until even just a couple weeks ago. A lot of the photos I was looking on the website, it took me a little bit, but I found those same photos on other websites from other companies selling the same crap. And it made me so mad. I can't even tell you how mad it made me. I want to use words that YouTube probably wouldn't like. Definitely, if there's kids in the room, you wouldn't want them to hear. But it just made me sick. And even then, I'm like, there's got to be a better way. And it was thankfully around that time after um, I'm like, I gotta rectify this. Because at that point, I'm telling myself, I got burnt. I need to buy a real one. I got to do whatever I can. I have to buy a legitimate, authentic one. And I emailed a YouTuber that I was following at the time. I'm not ready to say her name yet, but there's a lot more coming from her because I want to share that with you. But there was a YouTuber that I follow. She's an artist and a collector, and she's pretty well known in the community. I found her email. I decided to shoot her an email, and she made me feel welcome. Even through an email, she was able to communicate to me that I'm not crazy. The term is called reborn dad, and that there's other people like me. And she told me that like 25% of her audience is men, and it made me feel a lot better. And that was part of why I decided to go public with this in the first place. I just felt like I needed to stop being ashamed or nervous about what other people think. And a couple months later, here we are, right? I finally got everything in place. Um, I formed a plan of how I wanted to do this. And to be perfectly honest with you guys, I didn't set out to create these social media channels to go viral or create shock value like there's a guy in this hobby. I legitimately just wanted to get one message across. And that is do what you love. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to love what you love. And now that I know, there's people out there that will help get you in the right direction. And I hope my video is part of that. And so I'm going to wrap up this video by saying, if you want to subscribe, if you want to follow me, if you want to like this video, you want to comment, great. I would love that. And as always, keep sending those reborn pictures of yours in. I loved seeing them. I legitimately do try to seek those out specifically and make sure I at least give them a heart or a like. I even try to comment on several of them when I can. There's actually enough comments now. I'm missing them, and I know I am, and I hate it. But I'm going through the notifications. There's so many, and it's a good problem to have. And I appreciate everyone. But more importantly than all of that, all of it, share this video. Share it as far and wide as you can, because I want as many people who don't feel like they could say anything, who don't fit the mold even of what a lot of stereotypes are in this hobby, to say, please ask questions. Ask me, right? If you're a guy and you kind of feel weird about maybe asking one of the girls in there, don't, first of all, don't feel like that. But if you got to feel like you got to reach out to somebody, reach out to me. I will do what I can to help you. I'm not an expert in this community just yet. I'm learning. I'm learning everything I can. I'm asking questions. I'm emailing people now. I'm really diving into this stuff. And I'll do what I can to help you. And if I can't, I'll try and point you in the direction of someone who can. Now that I've gotten several emails from um, Reborn artists and collectors, and people have reached out to me directly and personally. Now I've got some resources. Now I've got a network. Now I've got a community. I've got a community of people who care. And you guys have shown that through all the comments, that throughout the thousands of views, the opportunities for hate comments are plentiful. And I was fully expecting to at least get a couple, but there hasn't been hardly any. I can count on one hand the amount of negative comments, and that's two that I can even think of off the top of my head. Out of the dozens of comments and the close between all the platforms now, it's close to 60,000 views at the time of this recording. Out of 60,000 views, two comments that were negative. That says a lot about this community. That says a lot about you as a person, appreciating and respecting others. And I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for welcoming me into this space. And I hope that we can continue to do a good job of welcoming others in this space as well. Let's turn the tide. We may not be able to beat these companies with money because they've got apparently plenty of it to throw around. You don't have to spend much time on Facebook ads or Google to see all the sponsored crap for these sites. But let's see if we can do it through sheer willpower of social media and sharing. If we can get more comments, more posts about this to help others not fall for these cheap knockoff websites, let's do it. I'm all for it, because I don't want to see anybody else hurt like I was. All right, guys, that's my rant. Love you. God bless. And I'll see you the next time here on Strong Hands Reborn Dad.